Patrick Mahomes battling through what reportedly was diagnosed as a high ankle sprain. A scary hit early in the game, and this is one of the things that happen. Bodies get twisted together. Guys are big, they're strong, they're heavy. The forces get applied. Look like ankle, look like knee. You were saying the other night, sometimes that high ankle sprain hurts up into the knee. It's so far up into the structure of the ankle.
Right.
And I was concerned for Patrick Mahomes because there was no way he was coming out of the game, even if there was a fracture. He was going to keep going no matter what. And they eventually had to tell him, you're going in to get it looked at or you're not going back in the game, period. So he went into the locker room. Chad Henne did a great job in place of Patrick Mahomes, but he was back for the second half. It was Willis Reed type stuff, the way that he came back and played. Not that it was spectacular, but Patrick Mahomes at 60%, if he was even at 60%, is better than most quarterbacks. And just another reason to understand and appreciate why this guy is so damn special.
That's damn right. I mean, you sure you want to pick Joe Burrow and the Bengals against them right now? You sure you want to do that? You want me to give you one more chance to come back on that and rethink that after? Because, as the segment goes on, you're going to go, damn, you're right. I am picking against this guy, and this is a little scary. I mean, he's magical competitor. He's special from that standpoint. And I think the point is like guys like this sometimes just don't get the credit they deserve for how much they love the game and they're a gym rat because we just go, oh, it's so easy and he just makes it happen. And that's something Jason Garrett said, right, when we were sitting in the trailer. Guys like that don't get that credit sometimes. But he's got everything. He's got everything you want, let alone the physical talent. And that's what was on display there. A love of the game. A competitor that's up there as any of the greats we've seen in the history of the sport. That's a tough injury. And, man, just to battle through that and make some of the plays and throws he did, just a phenomenal moment. It really was. And just another, pelt on the horse or whatever you want to say, just to show the overall greatness of this guy. I mean, first off, we saw it here early on in the game. I mean, Jacksonville's game plan was good, right, Mike? We were sitting there going, whoa, they're covered. But, hey, here comes the jump pass scissor kick throw, right? Which, I'd never seen before, but he did that. And then, hey, nobody open, no big deal. I'll just, on the way down on the third down, throw the ball. And then, of course, things changed, right, Mike? And we saw the lack of mobility, and he had to play the game a different way, but he sucked it up and made it happen about as good as you can do it.
Here's Andy Reid, coach of the Chiefs, and Mahomes from after the game on the Mahomes injury and his effort to get back into the game.
Well, it was hard getting him out of the game, first of all. He wanted to fight, and so we got him out, went to the x-ray, got it x-rayed, looked at, taped. He came back, and he said he felt good enough to be protected, where he's not going to get hurt. That's obviously the primary thing. And he felt like his mobility was good enough where he could do that. So we did a few little things with him on the sideline to see where he was at, put him in, and it was a short leash.
I obviously didn't want to go back and see it. I didn't want to go get the x-rays or whatever it was. I wanted just to continue to play. I told him I would do it at halftime, but Coach, in the best interest of me, he made me go back there and get that x-ray before he put me back in the game. And for a while, I thought I could get and play through it. And then he said, I'm not putting you back in, so you might as well go get the x-ray. And then if it's negative or whatever, I'll put you back in. So I ran back there, got the x-ray, and was able to finish the game.
You got to make sure he's okay, physically okay, where he can protect himself. And if he can't, then he can't play. You have to go with the next guy. But he's a tough nut, and he's very – when I tell you he's competitive, he's very, very competitive.
I'm not coming out of a playoff game unless they take me out, and so I'm just going to play. I love this sport too much. I love this game. I love playing with my teammates and being able to go out there and enjoy it together. And we prepare all year to be in the playoffs and to play in these games. And I'm glad that I was able to get back in the game. And it's something that I just love competing in this sport. And pain is pain, and you have to deal with it either way.
We were debating this in real time in the bus at the stadium because you were of the mindset he's staying in no matter what. I'm like, he's a sitting duck out there. If he can't protect himself, they have to get him off the field. At some point, you have to protect the player from himself. And they eventually realized we can't allow him to stay out there like this. He was too hobbled. He was too clearly in pain. And look, it worked. They brought in Chad Henne. All he did was author the longest touchdown drive in Chiefs postseason history. 98-yard methodical drive to get a touchdown. And Chris, I just think the psychology, when the Chiefs lose Mahomes, everybody else stepped up.
Right.
Everybody else on the Chiefs knew, offensive and defense, we got to step up. We got to get it done. And I almost think the Jaguars, the vibe was a little bit, we got this now.
Right.
And they didn't. Yeah, and they didn't really lock in the way they needed to, and the Chiefs caught them.
Yeah, I think that's a fair way to say it. That was a championship drive. That was championship caliber DNA that we saw there from the Chiefs. Where you went there, that's a team that's special, understands, next guy up. Hey, we got to rise to the occasion here because we're not our total 100% selves here. That's where I think they're different than years past. We've kind of hit on that. It's not as reliant on Mahomes to always make magic like we saw there. I mean, their offense is good, their O-line's good. They can lean on a running game for the first time in a long time in Kansas City. Where he's hurt. Okay, here Pacheco. They didn't do that enough in the game. But that's where, Mike, and I know you and I, when we had dinner together Friday night, we talked about this a little bit. Just that one thing that jumped out to me about being at practice on Thursday. And this goes for a lot of the really great teams in the sport. First off, the practice was phenomenal. And they were sharp and flying around. But there's a belief and a camaraderie in the team that just kind of oozes, off of the practice field. You can feel it, like I was telling you, let alone the energy. Right, Mike? I was trying to tell you they were out of practice. They were working hard as hell, but they had smiles on their face. And, I mean, it was go, 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 but they were loving it. And it was like a team you're going, man, they're hungry. They're ready to go. And, yeah, they got thrown a major curveball there, but showed that, they got something special in their flowing in their body there a little bit. And that was big-time performance by them battling back and staying ahead and winning the game.
Only won that game by 7 points, 27-20. So the Jaguars got the cover on a late field goal. And the Jaguars, to their credit, did not wilt under the pressure. They didn't give up. They didn't go away. And they did have an opening when Patrick Mahomes was injured, but Mahomes came back, and he was still good enough. He said after the game he'll be good to go next week. I have no doubt that he'll play. The question is, how effective will he be? And I think back to Super Bowl 55 against the Buccaneers. When you take away just enough of that special mobility and elusiveness that he has, it takes away something from his game, and it puts him in a position where he can get sacked, he can get caught. And he had that toe 2 years ago, and now he's got the ankle. What they just need to do is engineer their game plan for him to get rid of the ball quickly. He's got to play like Joe Burrow.
Sure.
Get rid of the ball quickly.
Right.
And don't try to run around and do things, because you can't try to run around and do things.
I'm glad you're going there, because I think there's some things here that I think are good to unpack with this. One, hey, the Bengals are pretty good. We didn't see Josh Allen run around yesterday, right? They're pretty good at it. We didn't see Mahomes really run around last year in the AFC Championship game or even this year. So, this is where I get into, like, we've hit a lot this year, right, Mike, with Mahomes. He's become more of a machine in the pocket. And maybe this is, God's plan, football God's plan of like, hey, okay, you were better in the pocket. You were patient. You were Joe Burrow like a little this year and weren't always looking for the 50-yard bomb and checking it down and doing things of that nature, right? That's is where, hopefully that comes back into his favor here. And, he's going to have to play within the pocket. You're right. I don't think he's going to be nearly as magical moving around. But if he can just move around and still throw the ball in some awkward spots with his feet, cockeyed or whatever else, he'd still be able to, like we saw on social media, one-legged Mahomes is probably still in the top 10 quarterback rankings for Chris Simms too. That's how damn good he is. So we'll see what he can do. But we know they're a good team, and they pose a little more problems for you as a complete offense maybe than in years past that hopefully can help out that lack of mobility from Mahomes.
I think some teams out there would take no-legged Mahomes over the
Maybe.
quarterbacks they currently have. Won't name names. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.